Listen carefully. Heaven has interrupted time for you. Everything around you stills, the air thickens, the noise fades, and in that stillness, something eternal begins to move. You feel it deep in your chest. A trembling not of fear, but of divine recognition. This is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. You are not scrolling by chance. Heaven has paused this moment because there is something you must hear. You have been wrestling, doubting, wondering if God still sees you, and now Heaven answers. The silence you've endured is about to break open with revelation. The light that follows you has always made darkness nervous. Every attack, every delay, every disappointment was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to prepare you. For you are chosen. You are the one Heaven marked before you ever took your first breath. You've been feeling the tension in your spirit because Heaven has been realigning your timeline. You are stepping out of the ordinary into the divine. The pain you've endured was not random, it was prophecy in progress. Every sleepless night, every tear, every why was Heaven training your spirit to hear this call. Do not underestimate what is happening right now. The atmosphere is shifting, and you are standing between the natural and the supernatural. Heaven is whispering your name not as the world calls it, but as it is known in the language of angels. You've carried battles no one saw, fought wars no one celebrated, and stood in storms that tried to erase you, but you remained. You thought you were surviving, but you were actually being transformed. The world misread your breaking point as weakness, but Heaven saw endurance. It is time to wake up. The shaking around you is not punishment, it is promotion. Heaven shakes what can be shaken, so that only what is eternal remains. The pain you are feeling is the sound of chains breaking. The resistance you are facing is the sign that the old season is ending. You are about to see why the enemy fought you so hard. You are about to understand why you had to walk through rejection, loneliness, and silence. Because now, the word from Heaven finds you ready. You've been asking for confirmation, and this is it. The message is clear. You are chosen to carry light into darkness, to stand when others fall, to believe when others doubt. You were never ordinary. Heaven does not waste breath, and you are proof of that. Lift your head, straighten your back. Your survival is not an accident, it's a divine announcement that your purpose is still alive. The same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead is breathing inside you now, reigniting your calling, reminding you who you are. Do not shrink back when the world misunderstands your fire. The oil on your life is not for popularity, it is for purpose. The pressure you've endured was Heaven's way of drawing out what was hidden inside you. Diamonds are not made in comfort but under weight. The voice of Heaven now speaks, and this is what it says. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. You have waited long, and Heaven has seen it. You have cried until words failed, and Heaven has heard it. Now the divine exchange begins. Strength for weakness, peace for confusion, joy for mourning. The ashes of your past will become the crown of your testimony. The heavens are opening, and favor begins to locate you. But hear this, do not harden your heart. You stand at a divine intersection, one decision. One response will determine the flow of your next season. Heaven invites your response. Speak it aloud, I receive it. Let the unseen world know that you are awake. aligned, and available. If this word resonates in your spirit, don't scroll away. Share this message so others like you will awaken. Subscribe so you do not miss the next word from heaven. And in the comments, type the prophetic number 777 as a sign that you receive this heavenly interruption. The heavens have spoken now, it is your turn to respond. Heaven watches your reaction, not your perfection. Every time you obey the whisper, you shift something unseen. The small act of saying yes today creates ripples that touch generations. Your obedience is not small, it is sacred. This moment is rewriting your spiritual history. You are not forgotten. Heaven has tracked every tear, every lonely prayer, every silent battle. What you thought was delay was divine timing. The angels are aligning paths and people to carry you forward. Heaven's eyes are on you because your purpose carries weight beyond this season. Step boldly now. The same power that split the Red Sea walks beside you. You have divine permission to rise, to speak, to move. The mantle resting on your life will awaken others. So take your place. Chosen one history is waiting for your yes. You were never ordinary. From the moment you entered this world, heaven placed a mark upon you that no man could erase. You may not have understood it then, but even as a child, there was something different about you, something sacred. You felt things others ignored, saw through masks others believed, and carried a weight in your heart that no one could explain. You thought it was weakness, but it was sensitivity to the spirit. That feeling of never fitting in was not rejection, it was protection. Heaven was keeping you from blending into places that could dilute your purpose. You were never meant to blend in. The discomfort you've carried has been heaven's reminder that you are not called to conform, but to transform. When others found comfort in compromise, your spirit felt restless. You tried to silence it, tried to be like them, to speak their language, to hide your fire, but fire cannot pretend to be water. Every time you tried to dim your light, it burned even brighter. Every time you tried to walk away from your calling, something pulled you back. That pull was divine tethering, heaven refusing to let you forget who you are. The enemy has always seen your potential more clearly than you have. That is why he targeted you early. Before you knew your name carried power. The darkness already feared it. You wondered why warfare followed you before you even understood faith. It wasn't punishment, it was recognition. You were marked as a threat. And threats are always watched closely. The resistance in your life has been proof of your anointing. You have endured battles that broke stronger people, but you are still standing. That alone is testimony. You've survived not because you were lucky, but because you were chosen. When others fell under the same storms, heaven covered you. You were protected in ways you didn't see, doors that didn't open, people who left, moments that forced you into isolation. You thought they were losses, but they were divine redirections. Heaven knew that if you stayed in certain places, your spirit would suffocate. And so, God allowed separation to preserve revelation. You've been hidden, not forgotten. Hidden seasons are sacred. They are where heaven shapes warriors. You've been trained in silence, developed in obscurity, refined in fire. The lessons you've learned alone will one day feed nations. You may not carry titles, but you carry truth. You may not stand on stages, but you stand under heaven's favor. Everything you've endured has been preparation for the unveiling that is coming. There were times you looked in the mirror and questioned if you were enough. You compared yourself to those who seemed ahead, wondering why your progress felt delayed. But what you call delay, heaven calls foundation. Others built fast, you are being built to last. Heaven takes its time with those who will carry weight. You are not behind, you are being fortified. Your sensitivity, your discernment, your heart for people, those are not flaws. They are indicators of divine craftsmanship. You feel deeply because heaven designed you to heal deeply. Your compassion is not weakness, it is your weapon. While others see burdens, you see souls. That vision is what makes you dangerous to darkness. Every scar on your heart carries prophecy. Every rejection redirected you toward purpose. Every unanswered prayer was heaven saying, "Not yet. I'm still building you." You are the evidence of divine patience. And now, heaven whispers again, you were never ordinary. There is a power resting on your life that you haven't yet seen in full. It manifests in subtle moments, in how people feel peace when you walk into a room, in how chaos quiets when you pray, in how you sense the atmosphere shift when your spirit aligns. That's not coincidence. That's anointing. The supernatural has always recognized you, even when people didn't. It was written long before you were born that your steps would carry light into hidden places. Heaven scripted your existence with precision. The times you thought you were lost, you were being led. The paths that made no sense then will soon reveal their divine order. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, and those words still echo through eternity. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. These words are not ancient history, they are living truth for you. Heaven did not consult opinion before it chose you. You do not need validation to walk in divine identity. You were known, appointed, and anointed before your first breath. Your existence is not an accident, it is assignment. You will begin to see it soon. The very traits you once tried to hide will become the tools heaven uses to build others. Your empathy will open doors. Your endurance will break chains. Your authenticity will silence lies. Everything that made you different will make you destined. So stand firm. You do not have to chase recognition when you are already chosen. The time of hiding is ending, and the world will soon see what heaven already knows. You were never ordinary. The nights you thought God was silent were not empty, they were sacred. You remember those hours when your heart cried out, and heaven seemed to look the other way. You whispered prayers into darkness and heard nothing back but your own echo. Yet, even in that silence, heaven was speaking in a language deeper than words. You mistook stillness for absence, but God was nearer than your breath. He was not ignoring you, He was instructing you. Silence is the classroom of the chosen. When heaven hides its voice, it is not because you are forsaken, it is because you are being trained to recognize His presence without sound. Faith is not proven by hearing God when He shouts, but by trusting Him when He whispers. And sometimes He says nothing so that you will learn how to feel His movement instead. You cried, "Why me?" And heaven replied, "Because you are trusted." The darkness that surrounded you was not punishment, it was protection. God covered you with silence to keep you from distractions that could have delayed your destiny. You felt forgotten. but you were being fortified. Every unanswered prayer was a hidden not yet from a Father who saw what you could not. You didn't see it then, but in those quiet seasons, your roots were going deeper. The same storms that threatened to break you were watering your strength. The same tears that burned your eyes were cleansing your vision. You were not being ignored, you were being prepared to hear on another frequency. There is a realm of relationship with God that can only be birthed in stillness. The chosen learn to rest even when heaven seems quiet. You begin to realize that silence is not a void but a voice, one that says, "Be still and know." Every quiet moment was an invitation to trust. Every delay was an altar where your faith was refined. You have to understand this. The absence of sound does not mean the absence of strategy. Heaven was working behind curtains, aligning events, shaping people, preparing opportunities. What looked like delay was divine choreography. You were standing still, but heaven was in motion. The Spirit has a way of training those He calls. He teaches you to stand in the dark so that you will not panic when the lights of certainty fade again. You may have thought you lost time, but you gained wisdom. The silence gave birth to discernment. You no longer react, you perceive. You no longer fear delays, you interpret them. Many gave up in that same quiet, but you did not. That is why heaven trusts you with more. You endured the silence and stayed. You didn't walk away when God seemed still. You kept believing, kept praying, kept showing up. That kind of faith moves mountains. You were being molded in hidden fire. Heaven was proving your heart not to itself, but to you. You had to see that you could stand without visible proof, that your faith could function without feelings. Now you understand that silence is not the end of communication, it is the beginning of revelation. The ancient words recorded in Psalms speak straight to your experience. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms. Chapter 30, verse 5. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Your mourning season was never permanent. The sun that you thought had set forever was merely waiting behind clouds of timing. Morning is coming not in theory, but in manifestation. The tears that watered your pillow are about to produce fruit. The joy that returns will not just comfort you, it will restore everything the silence seemed to take. Now that you understand heaven's rhythm, your peace will no longer depend on answers. You will trust when you cannot trace. You will rest even when you cannot hear. You will know that your name is still being spoken in heaven's courts, even when the earth is quiet. So this moment, right here, is sacred. The silence that once broke you is now your testimony. When others panic in waiting, you will speak life. When they question if God still hears, you will say, "He never stopped listening." And now, as a prophetic act of agreement, I want you to declare it publicly. Write it where heaven can see and hell can't deny it. Comment, "Still I trust." Write it not just as words, but as a declaration. When you say, "Still I trust," you are telling heaven that the silence did not destroy your faith. You are telling the darkness that you will not retreat, even without evidence. You are proclaiming that your trust is not conditional, it is eternal. For every night you sat in quiet pain, joy is coming. For every tear you sowed in darkness, laughter will return with the dawn. The silence was never the absence of God. It was the shaping of a warrior who no longer needs noise to believe. You have graduated from waiting in despair to waiting in faith. The stillness that once felt empty now feels holy. You realize that sometimes heaven says the most in moments when it seems to say nothing at all. The silence did not break you, it built you. Your light terrifies darkness. That is why the battle around you has never matched your actions, it has matched your anointing. Darkness has always seen the brightness you carry, even when you doubted it yourself. You wondered why some people recoiled from you without reason, why atmospheres felt tense when you entered a room. It wasn't personal, it was spiritual. Light and darkness cannot share the same space. When you arrive, hidden things are exposed. Shadows scatter because your presence announces the kingdom. You carry something that cannot be imitated: the purity of your heart, the authority in your words, the discernment in your spirit. These are not random traits. They are evidence of divine selection. You were entrusted with illumination. When you speak, truth pierces confusion. When you pray, chains tremble. When you forgive, strongholds weaken. That is why warfare seems to follow you. It is the darkness trying to silence the voice that carries breakthrough. But you must remember, this light does not fight darkness, it simply shines. The darkness cannot argue with the dawn, it must retreat. You do not need to defend your light, you need to release it. Every time you choose love over bitterness, peace over fear, humility over pride, you wage war with light. That is why the attacks intensify. When you are close to breakthrough, the enemy knows light is spreading. There were times you wanted to hide it. You felt misunderstood, targeted, even exhausted by how much you seemed to carry. You wanted to dim your brightness so others would feel comfortable. But heaven never asked you to shrink, it called you to shine. The world doesn't need a quieter light, it needs a purer one. You are that light. You are the reflection of heaven's radiance in a world suffocating under shadows. You were born to disrupt darkness, not negotiate with it. Every environment you step into shifts because of the authority you carry. Do not question it. You've been entrusted with divine influence. And influence always stirs resistance. People sense something different about you because you carry the atmosphere of heaven. They may not understand it, but their spirit feels it. Even creation recognizes the light within you. When you worship, the unseen world listens. When you intercede, realms respond. Your light is not metaphorical, it is spiritual substance. It carries heat, truth, and power. It exposes deception and awakens sleeping souls. That is why darkness plots against your peace, your mind, and your confidence. But it cannot extinguish what God Himself ignited. Remember this: truth, light, doesn't need validation. It reveals itself by presence. You do not need to convince anyone of who you are. The fruit of your life will testify for you. The peace you carry in storms, the strength you display under pressure, the mercy you extend in betrayal, all of it declares, this one walks with God. There will always be those who misunderstand your purity. Some will call it pride, others will call it strange, but heaven calls it holy. You are set apart for a reason. Oil cannot mix with water. Anointing cannot blend with compromise. Your separation is not loneliness, it is alignment. Every time you are isolated, heaven is refining your flame. Your light is not fragile. It does not flicker at criticism or fade in storms. It grows under resistance, just as stars are seen best in night. Your brilliance is revealed through adversity. The darker the hour, the brighter your calling shines. Do not despise the darkness, use it to display the glory within you. When you walk into confusion, wisdom follows. When you enter despair, hope breathes again. You do not even have to speak, your very presence carries the fragrance of heaven. That is what it means to be chosen. You are not defined by your environment is defined by your presence. Many envy what they do not understand. Some may resist you. But remember, rejection often hides recognition. They feel something sacred around you, but cannot explain it. That is why you must guard your peace. Protect the flame. Do not waste energy explaining your light to those committed to misunderstanding it. Shine anyway. And when you grow weary, when it feels like your flame is small, remember the source of your light is not your own strength. It comes from the one who never burns out. The same power that said, "Let there be light," lives in you. It cannot be extinguished. The Word of God declares in the book of John, chapter 1, verse 5, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Let that truth settle in your spirit. Darkness has tried, but it cannot win. Lies have been spoken, but they cannot overshadow truth. Fear has whispered, but it cannot silence faith. The light within you is undefeatable because its source is eternal. So stand boldly in that light. Let it radiate through your words, your actions, your love, and your resilience. When others doubt, shine anyway. When they question your calling, shine anyway. When the world grows cold, burn brighter. You are the light that darkness fears, the living evidence that heaven still moves through human vessels. You were never meant to hide. You were created to reveal. There is a shift happening in the spirit realm. Something unseen is rearranging itself in your favor. The winds that once blew against you are now turning to carry you forward. You can feel it in moments of stillness, a holy stirring. A sense that what was delayed is suddenly drawing near. Heaven is calling you to align, to open your hands and your heart. Because divine movement always begins with surrender. This is not just another season, it is a crossing. You are standing on the edge of what was and what will be. Every trial, every disappointment, every lesson has brought you here to this sacred threshold where heaven begins to move things on your behalf. You can almost hear the sound of shifting ground beneath your feet. The old foundation is giving way to new purpose. But to step into the new, you must release the weight of the old. You cannot carry yesterday's fear into tomorrow's promise. The shaking you feel is not destruction, it is construction. Heaven is building something solid in your life, something that will stand when others fall. You are being rooted in revelation, not reaction. There are moments when the air feels different, charged with the nearness of God. This is one of those moments. The veil between heaven and earth grows thin, and you sense that unseen hands are working for your good. The same God who spoke to Abraham under the stars is now speaking to you through this message. He is saying, "I am not done. The story isn't over." Heaven is not asking for perfection, only participation. When you align your actions with what heaven is doing, everything changes. That's why your yes matters. Your willingness opens spiritual doors, not just for you, but for those connected to your destiny. When you respond, heaven multiplies what you surrender. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. You've been sitting in waiting long enough. It is time to rise. The light that once flickered inside you is about to blaze again. The heaviness of past seasons is lifting, and a new strength begins to settle on your shoulders. Heaven is not just calling you out, it's calling you up. And as this message reaches you, let it also reach deeper than words. Let it awaken your sense of connection. This movement of light, the messages, the words, the prayers that flow here exists to reach hearts like yours. Every time you like or share this word, it's like striking a match in a dark room. One spark can guide a lost soul home. If these words have touched you, if they have helped you stand again when life pressed you down, consider becoming part of this light in another way. Think of a candle that never asks for anything but a hand to shield its flame. When you subscribe, you place your hand around this fire so it can keep burning through the storm. No one is asked out of pressure or duty. Giving must always be a choice of the heart. If one day you feel led to donate, see it not as giving away but as planting light. Just as a seed disappears into soil before breaking through in beauty, what you sow here becomes a garden that heaven uses to feed others. When you give, you are not funding content, you are fueling calling. You are saying yes to a movement that reminds the forgotten they are seen, that tells the weary they are chosen, that brings heaven's voice into the noise of earth. Even the smallest act of generosity, whether a word, a prayer, or a donation, is a brick in the altar of light we are building together. Let your support be an echo of gratitude. If these messages have ever helped you heal, share them forward like passing a torch. If they've reminded you that God still speaks, subscribe to stay connected to His whisper. And if your heart ever feels stirred to give, let it be the way you water the next seed of hope. Because this is not about money, it's about mission. We are carriers of light, builders of hope, messengers of heaven, and together we can keep that light burning strong. So let this be your reminder, your presence here is already part of something eternal. You are part of the shift. You are part of heaven's plan. The winds are changing. The season is turning. Heaven is moving. And so are you. The doors you once knocked on are opening from the inside. The prayers you whispered in the dark are echoing in heaven's courts. Everything you surrendered is returning multiplied in grace. What felt like delay was simply divine timing preparing your stage of purpose. You are stepping into alignment with the rhythm of heaven. Every heartbeat now matches the sound of destiny. The same spirit that called the universe into being is breathing through you again, steady, unstoppable, radiant. Your next chapter begins with light. Divine delay or divine protection, it is one of heaven's most misunderstood mysteries. You have looked at closed doors and thought something was wrong with you. You have seen opportunities slip through your hands and assumed God was silent. But what if the delay was never denial? What if it was deliverance disguised as disappointment? Heaven has a way of slowing down what the flesh wants to rush. You saw the pause as punishment, but heaven saw it as preservation. You prayed for doors to open, not realizing that some led straight into traps. Divine love will let you wait rather than walk into something that would have destroyed you. The delay was not God ignoring you, it was God shielding you. There are moments when heaven hides blessings until your spirit can handle them. You might think you are ready, but heaven knows timing. A blessing outside its season becomes a burden. You wanted it early, but heaven said, "Not yet." because it loved you too much to let you drown in premature success. The delay is not rejection, it is refinement. You are like gold in the fire, still valuable, but not yet pure enough to handle the weight of your next level. The waiting season is not wasted. Heaven has been teaching you patience, endurance, humility, and discernment. Every no was shaping your now. You have not lost time, you have been built by it. Remember, when you thought you were forgotten, heaven was working behind closed curtains, aligning names, faces, and circumstances that would one day recognize your light. The same doors that once shut in your face will soon open, not because you forced them, but because heaven says it is time. The waiting has been your preparation. The silence has been your schooling. The delay has been your divine protection. You have been hidden under the shadow of his wings, like an arrow waiting in the quiver. Arrows are not meant to stay hidden forever. They are drawn back only to be released with power. When heaven delays, it stretches you backward so that when the release comes, you travel farther than you could have imagined. The pullback is not rejection, it's propulsion. The longer the stretch, the greater the distance. What feels like resistance is actually divine strategy. Many have prayed for what you are about to walk into, but they were not willing to wait for it. You waited. You trusted when nothing made sense. You kept believing when you could have broken. Heaven honors that kind of faith. The delay has qualified you for what quick access never could. You are not behind, you are being aligned. The pace of heaven is different from the rhythm of men. Heaven is not late, it is precise. What is forming now would not have fit in the old season. And when it finally arrives, you will see that every pause was perfectly timed. The prophet wrote long ago words that still breathe truth over your life. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verses 5 and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. This is not the time to panic. It is the time to posture your heart in trust. The delay has not changed the promise. The longer the wait, the deeper the roots. Heaven will not let what belongs to you miss you. When the door opens, it will be right. It will be ready. And it will recognize you. You won't have to force it. You won't have to beg for it. What is divinely yours cannot be stolen, delayed, or denied forever. So, as a prophetic sign of faith, I want you to pause and agree with heaven's timing. Comment the number 444 below. Let it be your declaration that you trust divine timing over human rush. The number 444 represents angelic alignment and divine order. It is heaven's reminder that everything is happening exactly when it should. When you type it, you're saying, I choose patience over panic. I choose trust over doubt. I believe my waiting is holy. And as you wait, remember, heaven is not silent. It's strategic. Your delay is not empty space. It is sacred preparation. What's forming in secret will soon be revealed in glory. Comment 444 3 digits. One declaration. When you write it, you are not typing a number, you are engraving agreement with heaven's rhythm. 444 means heaven's order, God's alignment, and angelic presence. It is the whisper that says, you are exactly where you need to be. When you comment 444, you are telling the unseen world that you trust the divine calendar more than your own clock. You are saying, even if I don't see it yet, I believe it's forming. Every 4 echoes stability, foundation, direction, and truth. Heaven hears faith through numbers too. So type 444 boldly. Let it become a living seed of patience. Each digit is like a step toward divine completion, Father, Son, Spirit, and you perfectly aligned under heaven's timing. There has been a battle over your name. Long before you recognized your worth, the enemy did. He saw the authority attached to who you are and has tried from the beginning to distort it. Every whisper of doubt, every label spoken over you, every lie planted in your childhood, none of it was random. Darkness has always aimed to rename those destined to carry light. You have been called many things that were never yours to wear. The world named you by your wounds, but heaven named you by your worth. People saw your failures and assumed they defined you, but heaven saw your faith and called it purpose. The enemy tried to mark you with shame, yet heaven wrote redeemed over your life. When you understand the power of a name, you realize why the attacks felt personal. Your name is not just identification, it is assignment. It carries vibration, destiny, and covenant. Heaven placed meaning in it, and the enemy has tried to twist it ever since. He tried to make you believe you were forgotten, ordinary, unworthy. But those were counterfeit labels. None of them carried heaven's signature. There were moments you almost agreed with those lies. You repeated words that were never meant to leave your lips. You looked at yourself through the lens of rejection and called it truth. But heaven interrupts today to remind you your name has never been revoked. It was written before time, carved into eternity's foundation, sealed by divine authority. In Scripture, every chosen vessel faced a battle over identity. Abram became Abraham, Sarai became Sarah, Jacob became Israel, Saul became Paul. Each transformation began when heaven reclaimed the name that aligned with purpose. You are walking through that same pattern. The version of you the world named is being replaced by the version heaven intended. Sometimes the greatest warfare is not around what you do, but around who you believe you are. The enemy cannot remove your anointing, so he tries to confuse your identity. He can't steal your calling, so he distracts you from your confidence. If you believe you are unworthy, you will forfeit authority that was already yours. But heaven never changed its mind about you. The same God who whispered your name in eternity still calls it now. You are not the sum of your scars. You are the echo of divine intention. What was spoken over you in fear cannot cancel what was decreed over you in faith. You must begin to speak your true name again. Call yourself what heaven calls you: healed, chosen, redeemed, appointed, loved. Every time you affirm your divine name, darkness loses grip. Your voice becomes a weapon of remembrance, cutting through lies that once chained your soul. It is time to reclaim your identity from the ashes of others' opinions. Heaven is restoring the authority behind your name. When you speak it, creation listens. When you pray, angels move. When you walk, territory shifts. The power that once seemed distant now flows through you again. You have endured seasons where your name was dragged through mud, where misunderstanding followed you like a shadow. But that was never meant to break you. It was meant to purify what your name represents. Diamonds are formed under pressure. and so are divine identities. What once embarrassed you will soon empower you. Heaven is declaring new meaning over your life. The identity that once felt fractured is being fused with grace. The weight that once came from others' expectations is being replaced by the lightness of truth. You are being renamed by heaven, not to erase your past, but to redeem it. Every failure becomes a testimony. Every wound becomes a weapon. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 17, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone. The new is here." You are not who you used to be. You are not even who you were yesterday. The moment heaven speaks a new name, transformation begins. Your history no longer holds authority over your destiny. You are not running from what was, you are walking toward what will be. The enemy trembles when you remember your true name, because it restores what fear tried to silence. You are no longer the abandoned one, the misunderstood one, the broken one. You are the chosen one, the rising one, the healed one. Your name carries fire now, holy fire that darkness cannot counterfeit. So stand tall under this truth. Heaven's mark on your life is irreversible. Your name is not up for debate. It is sealed in the blood of the Lamb. Speak it with confidence. Walk in it with boldness. And let your very existence remind the world that what God names, He sustains. Your name is your banner, not your burden. It carries heaven's sound and earth's assignment. When you speak it now, the atmosphere responds. Every syllable declares, "I am restored. I am chosen. I am known." Heaven smiles. Your identity is whole again. There are seasons when heaven tests loyalty, not to expose weakness, but to reveal strength. You have walked through those seasons, the ones where obedience cost you comfort, where faith demanded silence, and where love required letting go. These were not punishments, they were proofs. Heaven was measuring your devotion not by your words, but by your willingness to stay when everything inside you wanted to run. Loyalty to God is rarely tested when life feels easy. It's tested in the waiting, in the disappointment, in the tension between promise and manifestation. It is easy to worship when doors open, but sacred when you praise in the dark. Heaven watched you sing through tears, give without applause, and forgive without closure. Every act of faith in silence became incense that rose before the throne. You have passed through the kind of refining that strips away pretense. There were nights you questioned if it was worth it, if your obedience even mattered. You saw others advance while you were still waiting. You watched people walk away. And still, you stayed. What you didn't realize was that heaven was recording it all. Every quiet yes, every unseen sacrifice, every moment you chose peace instead of retaliation. These are the reasons heaven trusts you with more. Loyalty is the bridge between calling and coronation. It proves that your faith is rooted, not rented. Heaven cannot build on unstable ground. So God allowed storms not to destroy you, but to test the strength of your foundation. And when the winds blew, you stood, not perfectly, but faithfully. You may have bent, but you did not break. That's what heaven calls loyalty. You've been tested in relationships, too. Some were stripped away so that your loyalty to God would outweigh your attachment to people. It hurt when they left, But heaven smiled when you stayed. You were not being abandoned, you were being entrusted. God often removes temporary voices so his own can grow louder. There is a sacred kind of loyalty that chooses obedience even when it costs understanding. You have lived that. You walked away from things that once defined you because your spirit knew they could not go where you were going. You didn't always understand, but you obeyed. That's what separates the called from the chosen. The called hear instruction, the chosen follow through. Heaven never forgets the faithful. Every act of hidden obedience becomes a stone in your foundation. The ones who remain loyal through loss become the ones heaven promotes in silence. You are proof that endurance is not weakness, it is divine resilience. The fire you endured has made you unbreakable. There will always be moments when obedience feels like contradiction. When God tells you to stay silent when you want to speak, to wait when you want to move, to forgive when you want to fight. Yet every time you surrender your will to His, you become more like Him. That's the mystery of loyalty. It transforms even your pain into praise. Think of Abraham lifting the knife over his promise, only to find heaven's provision waiting in the thicket. Think of Daniel refusing to bow, even when loyalty meant facing lions. Loyalty is not glamorous, it is gritty. It is choosing trust when there is no guarantee of outcome. And you have walked through those moments with courage. Your obedience has rewritten your story. You are no longer defined by who failed you or what left you. You are defined by your unwavering yes. Every test of loyalty has carved wisdom into your spirit. Every delay has taught you discernment. Every surrender has deepened your strength. Heaven is molding not just a servant, but a steward, someone who carries responsibility with reverence. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 5. Now, if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations you will be my treasured possession. Those words are not ancient, they are alive in you now. You are heaven's treasured possession. Your faithfulness has distinguished you in ways you don't yet see. What others call loss, heaven calls loyalty. What they call silence, heaven calls sanctification. You have proven that you will not trade eternal purpose for temporary comfort. That is the mark of the chosen. You have stayed when walking away was easier. You have loved when being bitter felt safer. You have served when no one saw, and heaven saw it all. Loyalty has become your language. It speaks louder than talent, deeper than charisma, and truer than reputation. It is what will carry you into the next dimension of purpose. For when heaven finds loyalty, it releases legacy. Stand in peace. You have been tested, and you have been found faithful. The next door will not open because of your effort, but because of your endurance. Heaven's eyes have watched every silent yes you gave. Now the crown of endurance rests unseen above you, waiting for its unveiling. Loyalty has not gone unnoticed. Your steadfast heart has become heaven's proof of trust. There are scrolls in heaven that hold your name, records of destiny written before time began. They contain assignments, promises, and seasons already appointed for your life. For years, those scrolls were sealed, waiting for the moment your spirit would mature enough to understand what they carried. That moment is now. The hidden scroll of your purpose is being unsealed, and heaven is revealing what was once mystery. You have felt this shift without having words for it. The sudden restlessness, the urge to change, The feeling that something greater is calling it is not coincidence. It is your spirit responding to divine remembrance. Heaven is opening the archives, and your destiny is being read aloud in the courts of eternity. When God writes, He does not use ink. He writes in fire. That means what He declared about you cannot fade, cannot be erased, cannot be rewritten by the enemy. What heaven recorded still stands. The detours, delays, and disappointments you faced never cancelled your calling, they only confirmed it. Heaven has been preparing you to carry the revelation you are about to receive. For a long time, you wondered why you couldn't settle, why every comfort became uncomfortable, why the places that once fit now feel too small. It is because your purpose has outgrown your past. The scroll is opening, and the old season can no longer contain your anointing. Heaven is expanding your borders and stretching your spirit to match your calling. You may not see it yet, but every day that you choose obedience, another line of your destiny comes alive. The more you align, the clearer the writing becomes. Your dreams, your visions, those unexplainable moments of divine déjà vu, they are glimpses of what was written before you were born. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Habakkuk, and his words still echo today. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it lingers, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." This means nothing has been forgotten. What God promised will not vanish into delay. It will manifest in precision. The scroll is not opening to tease you, it is opening to release you. Every word written about you will find its expression on earth. Heaven's timing is catching up with your obedience. When the scroll unrolls, revelation comes not only as information, but as transformation. You will begin to remember who you truly are. Old wounds will lose their voice. Hidden gifts will awaken. People around you will sense the shift, even if they cannot explain it. You will walk differently because your spirit will know it is walking in something ancient, something eternal. Your calling is not new, it is remembered. It was written before your first cry, and heaven has waited patiently for you to rise to it. Everything that once broke you has only positioned you to read with clarity. The pain sharpened your perception. The silence trained your hearing. And now the revelation can finally rest on you without breaking you. As heaven opens your scroll, you will begin to dream differently. You'll see instructions in your sleep, divine blueprints in your imagination. You'll feel heaven's urgency, not as pressure, but as purpose. The more you obey, the faster the scroll unfolds. Some will not understand this shift in you. They will think you've changed, and they'll be right. You've simply remembered what heaven always knew. You are stepping into your written identity, the version of yourself that eternity recognizes. What is written cannot be undone. Heaven's script is final. Even when you doubted, even when you strayed, heaven's ink did not fade. You are still the one chosen to carry what was decreed. So now, as a prophetic sign of agreement, declare this truth into the atmosphere. Comment, "I receive it." When you type those words, you are not responding to a message, you are signing your name beside heaven's scroll. You are saying, "I choose to align with what was written about me. I choose revelation over repetition." Each letter of that comment becomes a seal of agreement. Heaven reads your obedience. not just your words. And as you declare it, the scroll continues to unfold, revealing paths you didn't know existed. This is your moment of divine unveiling. Step into what has been waiting for you since the beginning. Comment, "I receive it." These 3 words are not passive, they are a spiritual signature. When you write them, heaven reads agreement. You are saying, "I choose alignment over anxiety, destiny over delay." Each time you declare, "I receive it," you open doors in unseen realms. The angels, assigned to your calling, recognize your voice again. The scroll unrolls further, revealing paths written before you were born. Type it with faith. Let it echo beyond screens and into eternity. When heaven sees your words, it seals your obedience with favor, confirming that revelation and readiness have finally met. Your anointing disrupts systems. You may not fully realize it yet, but every step you take shifts the atmosphere around you. You are not a passive presence, you are a divine interruption. The way you speak truth, the way you bring peace, the way you see what others overlook, all of it challenges the world's patterns. You are not meant to fit in, you are meant to reform. Heaven placed you here as a quiet revolution wrapped in light. Systems do not always mean governments or corporations, they are also mindsets, cycles, habits, and strongholds that hold people captive. You were born to break them. Your story itself is an act of rebellion against darkness. Every time you choose healing over bitterness, you break a generational chain. Every time you walk in integrity when it costs you comfort, you dismantle an old pattern. You are heaven's protest against corruption. Heaven's whisper in a world addicted to noise. But disruption does not come easily. Those who carry reformation are often misunderstood, because their vision is ahead of its time. You may feel lonely because you see solutions others haven't recognized yet. You are not out of place, you are just early. Every prophet is ahead of schedule in a world that prefers yesterday. That's why it feels like you're swimming upstream. You're not resisting life. You're resisting limitation. The weight you feel is the price of purpose. Heaven trusts you with tension because you know how to hold it with grace. You are the bridge between what was and what will be. Through you, new ways of thinking, living, and loving are being born. You are the sound of change that creation has been waiting to hear. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind." That is the essence of your anointing power that builds, love that restores, and a sound mind that sees beyond confusion. You carry heaven's stability into chaotic systems. Where there is fear, you bring calm. Where there is division, you bring understanding. That is what it means to be chosen for disruption, not to destroy, but to heal by reordering what has gone wrong. The influence on your life is not small. You are like a seed in soil, small at first, invisible even, but carrying forests within. Every choice you make, every word you speak, plants something eternal. What seems like one small act of obedience becomes a tree of impact that others will one day find shade beneath. And because your light matters, the way you nurture it matters too. These messages you hear are not just words, they are sparks meant to ignite and sustain the fire inside you. When you like, it's more than a digital gesture, it's as if you're blowing gently on that flame. helping it stay alive for someone else who needs warmth. When you share, imagine tossing a glowing lantern into a night sky. Someone wandering in darkness might see that light and find their way back home. Your share is not just an action, it's an act of rescue in disguise. And when you subscribe, it's like building a home near the fire. You are saying, I belong here. This is where my soul is fed. You make a place for consistent light to reach you, so that in the cold hours of the soul, you won't have to search, it will already be near. As for giving, understand, it is not demanded, it is invited. Think of it as planting light in fertile soil. Every small offering becomes oil that keeps the lamp burning, just as the widow's oil never ran dry. Every drop of support sustains the mission that reaches hearts like yours. No gift is too small when it is poured from love. When you donate, imagine yourself lighting another candle in a vast cathedral of souls. You may never see all the faces it touches, but heaven does. Every word spoken, every message sent out, every life comforted, it all traces back to someone who believed enough to keep the flame alive. These acts are not transactions, they are partnerships with purpose. Each one whispers, let this light keep shining. And if all you can give is your attention, your prayers, or your presence, that too is sacred. Heaven values intention more than amount. The kingdom grows through willing hearts, not pressured hands. You are free to participate in the way your spirit feels led, and that freedom itself is holy. Your obedience, your engagement, your generosity, they are all instruments in heaven's orchestra, and when they play together, they create a song of hope for the world to hear. So, as you continue forward, remember, you are not a bystander in this divine story. You are a builder of light, and through your kindness, your listening, your support, the systems that once held people captive begin to tremble and release. Every act, no matter how small, becomes part of the restoration heaven is orchestrating through you. The silence before the thunder, that's where you are now. A stillness so deep it almost hums. A calm that doesn't feel like peace, but preparation. It is that strange moment before heaven moves, where everything seems suspended. Nothing is breaking, yet nothing is blooming either. But the stillness is not empty. It is the inhale before the storm of blessings, the pause before the sound of promise. Every divine move begins with silence. Before the Red Sea parted, the wind was still. Before fire fell on the mountain, Elijah stood quietly. Before Jesus spoke life into Lazarus, there was stillness in the tomb. Silence is heaven's way of gathering power. It is the spiritual tension that precedes release. You have been asking, why isn't anything happening? But look closer, everything is. Heaven is aligning, gathering, organizing behind what looks like delay. The quiet you hear is God preparing an answer so vast that it requires a pause to contain it. The silence is not absence, it's incubation. Your promise is gestating in the dark, forming in divine detail. The silence before the thunder tests your heart. It asks, can you stay when you don't hear anything? Can you trust the wind before it howls? Faith is not the noise of praise after the miracle, it's the steady breathing of trust before the sound breaks. In this sacred pause, heaven is teaching you to interpret stillness correctly. You are not being punished, you are being poised. The same way an archer draws back before the release. Heaven has drawn you into stillness to launch you with precision. If you move too soon, you'll miss the mark. But if you wait, the release will carry you further than effort ever could. Your waiting is not wasted. The lessons you've learned in silence will become the wisdom that sustains your next season. You are being trained to recognize heaven's rhythm, to know when to rest and when to rise. Timing is everything in the kingdom, and this quiet season is fine-tuning your timing. There is a divine balance between doing and becoming in the silence. You are not achieving, you are transforming. Heaven is rebuilding your inner architecture so that when thunder comes, your structure can carry the sound. You cannot host glory if you are hollow. Stillness fills the empty places with strength unseen. You may feel overlooked, but heaven hides its greatest treasures before revealing them. Seeds are buried before they bloom. Stars are unseen until the night. Caterpillars must go silent in the cocoon before wings appear. The silence before your manifestation is proof that heaven is constructing something too weighty to be rushed. It can feel like abandonment, but it's actually attention. God's stillness is often the sound of Him working in ways you can't yet perceive. The silence is God's scaffolding around your promise. You are under construction, and heaven has hung a sign that says, "Do not disturb." When thunder finally breaks, it will make sense. The stillness will reveal its purpose. You'll see that every quiet moment carried instruction. Every delay held direction. Every unanswered prayer shaped patience. The sound that follows will not just be noise, it will be fulfillment. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, Psalm 62, verse 5, "For God alone, my soul waits in silence, for my hope is from Him." Waiting is not weakness, it's worship. To sit in silence is to say, "I trust you, even when I can't trace you." The world rushes, heaven refines. You are learning to rest in what others run from, and that rest is your readiness. Thunder is on its way, and when it comes, it won't be subtle. Doors will open effortlessly. People who once ignored you will suddenly remember your name. Opportunities will find you without you chasing them, because the silence before the thunder always leads to divine acceleration. So, hold your peace in this pause. Do not fight the quiet. Let it do its work in you. When the thunder rolls, you will be unshakable, not startled by the sound, but strengthened by the silence that came before it. Stay still. Listen closely. The sky is heavy with what heaven has been holding for you. The silence will soon break, not with chaos, but with clarity. And when it does, you will know that every moment of waiting was worth it. The silence that once frightened you will soon feel like home. You will recognize it not as emptiness but as intimacy, proof that heaven trusts you enough to sit in its stillness without fear. When the first sound breaks, it won't be chaos, it will be confirmation. The waiting will unfold like dawn after a long night, golden and gentle, proving that nothing was delayed, only prepared in love. And when thunder finally echoes, your spirit will smile. You'll know this was the sound heaven was composing in secret all along, music born from silence. The symphony of divine fulfillment. A prophetic call to rise. This is what heaven whispers into your spirit now. You have lingered long enough in hesitation. The time for questioning has passed. Heaven is no longer asking if you are ready. It is declaring that you are. Everything you have endured, the pain, the pruning, the waiting was heaven's way of preparing you for this exact moment. You are stepping into divine activation. When heaven calls, It rarely sounds convenient. It disrupts comfort, challenges logic, and requires faith greater than fear. You might still feel unqualified, unsure, or unprepared, but that is why you were chosen. Heaven delights in using the unlikely, because it leaves no room for pride. The ones who have walked through fire are the ones who carry the flame. You are being summoned not by accident, but by assignment. The same spirit that breathed over chaos in Genesis now breathes over your name. You have been hidden long enough. The season of silence is ending, and the sound of purpose is rising. Heaven is not merely calling you forward, it is calling you upward. This is not a gentle invitation, it is a divine command. Rise not in arrogance, but in authority. Stand not because you have no fear, but because faith has found you. You carry something that cannot remain dormant any longer. Your voice, your presence, your obedience, they are keys unlocking what has been waiting behind unseen doors. You have been asking heaven for a sign, but heaven is saying, you are the sign. Your story, your scars, your survival, all of it is proof that God still moves. The world does not need another perfect example. It needs a real one. You are that evidence. The Apostle Paul wrote words that still thunder today, the ancient words recorded in Romans, chapter 13, verse 11. The hour has already come for you to wake up from your slumber, because our salvation is nearer now than when we first believed. This is your wake-up call. Heaven is shaking the dust from your spirit and placing fresh fire in your bones. You are not who you were last season. The same hand that lifted you from despair now anoints you for destiny. You are being repositioned from survival to stewardship, from silence to sound, from endurance to empowerment. You must understand, rising is not a feeling, it is a choice. The strength you need is already inside you, waiting to be activated by obedience. Heaven's command is clear. Stand up. Speak truth. Move forward. Stop shrinking for fear of being misunderstood. The light within you is not arrogance, it is evidence of alignment. The enemy's last tactic was to convince you that you were unworthy of calling, that your past disqualified your purpose. But heaven rewrote your record. Every failure has been folded into the fabric of redemption. What once disqualified you now distinguishes you. You carry wisdom that only wilderness can produce. And now heaven asks for your answer. Will you rise? Will you speak? Will you carry the light where others have chosen comfort? The world is desperate for voices that still believe, hearts that still burn, souls that still hope. So, as an act of agreement, declare it now. Comment the number 555. When you write 555, you are not typing digits, you are responding to destiny. In prophetic symbolism, 555 represents divine grace multiplied, change intensified, and transition completed. It means heaven is not just calling you, it is commissioning you. By commenting 555, you are saying, I choose to rise. I choose transformation. I choose grace over fear. You are acknowledging that the shaking is not ending you, it's elevating you. The numbers are not magic, they are markers of faith, signs that heaven recognizes your readiness. This is your moment to awaken fully. The same spirit that hovered over creation is hovering over you now, waiting for your yes. The trumpet has sounded. The sleepers are rising, and you. chosen one, are among them. Stand up, step forward. Heaven has called your name. Comment 555. When you type 555, you're not performing a ritual, you're stepping into rhythm. Heaven recognizes numbers as symbols of movement. Each 5 represents grace in motion, transition guided by divine hands. It's the whisper that says, change is not chaos, it's calling. This number is the banner of those who refuse to remain asleep while destiny calls. By writing 555, you are saying, I am awake, aware, and aligned. You are no longer waiting for permission to rise, you are answering heaven's command. The shift has already begun inside you. Each 5 echoes something eternal, the Father's will, the Son's sacrifice, the Spirit's empowerment. 3 layers of grace, multiplied and intertwined, wrapping around your new beginning. The moment you declare it, heaven records your readiness. So let 555 be your trumpet in written form. Let it resound through unseen realms as proof that you choose obedience over hesitation. When heaven reads your faith, doors long sealed will begin to open, not by striving, but by surrender. Your yes has finally met its divine moment. The crowning moment is not about fame, it is about fulfillment. It is the instant heaven places visible confirmation on what it already declared in secret. You have been through the breaking, the waiting, and the refining. Now comes the revealing. Crowning does not mean the struggle ends, it means your authority begins. You are not being rewarded for surviving, you are being entrusted to reign. The crown of heaven is not made of gold or jewels, it is made of endurance, humility, and obedience. It is invisible to the world, but unmistakable in the spirit. When heaven crowns you, it is not for others to see your glory. It is for the darkness to recognize your authority. You wear it not on your head, but in your heart. Every scar, every tear, every yes in the dark has been woven into that crown. You have walked through fire and came out carrying something the flames could not destroy. The oil that drips from your life now is costly. It was pressed out of pain. And heaven says, now I can trust you with influence. You are no longer defined by what hurt you. You are defined by what healed you. The crowning is not sudden, it has been forming quietly through your journey. Every act of forgiveness added a gem. Every act of humility formed a curve in its design. Every season of silence polished its shine. You have been wearing fragments of your crown long before it appeared whole. Now heaven gathers them together and places them upon you with divine ceremony. This is not about titles or recognition, it's about the spiritual authority that comes through surrender. Heaven crowns the ones who bow lowest. The world applauds outward success, but heaven exalts hidden obedience. You are being lifted not because of position, but because of posture. You stayed low, and heaven lifts the humble. The Apostle Peter wrote of this moment, and his words still resonate like prophecy, as written in the first letter of Peter, chapter 5, verse 4. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the crown of glory that will never fade away. That is what you are stepping into, a glory that doesn't wither with applause or fade with time. It is eternal recognition, invisible yet undeniable. Heaven itself bears witness that you have endured faithfully. Crowning always follows crushing. You could not skip the process, for only pressure reveals true purity. Heaven could not place a crown on a head that still bowed to fear. But now your spirit stands firm, your gaze fixed, your heart aligned. You are ready to carry what would have broken you before. The crown represents not just victory, but responsibility. You are not being exalted to rule over people, you are being commissioned to serve them. Authority in heaven's kingdom means greater compassion, deeper discernment, and unwavering love. You are called to lead with gentleness, to heal through wisdom, to stand as an anchor in the chaos around you. When heaven crowns you, it is not for your comfort, it is for the kingdom's advancement. The anointing on your life is meant to lift others, to teach them that survival can lead to sovereignty. You will lead by example, showing that brokenness can still bear fruit. You might not feel different, but everything in the spirit has shifted. Angels take note, and darkness retreats. You now walk under a new level of covering. The crown signifies completion of one season and the commissioning into another. Many will not understand the quiet change, but the spiritual realm already knows. Doors that resisted you before will now open, not because you forced them, but because your authority carries divine recognition. Heaven's favor is visible upon you, even when unseen by human eyes. Yet remember this, the true test of being crowned is humility. Pride tarnishes what purity builds. So, walk softly, knowing that the crown is a reminder of grace, not achievement. It rests on your head only because mercy placed it there. Your journey has not been easy, but it has been holy. Every pain you endured was purpose in disguise. Every delay was heaven polishing your crown for this exact hour. You stand now as proof that surrender leads to strength. Wear your crown quietly. You don't need to prove it, you need to live it. Let your peace become your proclamation. Let your gentleness reveal your greatness. The radiance around you will speak louder than words ever could. The world crowns performance, heaven crowns perseverance. You are the living testimony that endurance wins. And though your crown may be unseen, its light will draw others toward their own awakening. You are crowned not to boast, but to bless, not to rise above, but to lift others higher. This is the holy paradox of divine royalty. The more you serve, the brighter your crown shines. The coronation has begun, not with trumpets, but with quiet peace. Heaven's light now rests upon your head. Walk forward with reverence, clothed in authority, sealed in grace. Your crown is not fragile. It was forged in fire. When obedience becomes warfare, everything around you begins to react. The moment you decide to truly follow heaven's voice, resistance rises, not because you are wrong, but because you are dangerous. Obedience is not quiet submission. It is a declaration of war against darkness. Every time you say yes to God, you disrupt the plans of hell. That is why obedience has always felt costly. It is your most powerful weapon. You may have thought warfare looked like chaos, but often it looks like choices. Choosing love when anger feels justified. Choosing faith when fear screams louder. Choosing truth when lies promise comfort. Each choice becomes an arrow in the unseen battle. And heaven watches as you fight not with noise, but with loyalty. The unseen realm takes notice when you obey. Angels stand to attention, and darkness trembles, because obedience is agreement with divine authority. When your will aligns with heaven's will, power is released. You become an extension of divine strategy on earth. Every step of obedience echoes through eternity, shouting, "Your kingdom come." You have already fought many unseen wars through your yes. Every time you forgave when it hurt. You disarmed bitterness. Every time you prayed when weary. You dismantled despair. Every time you stayed faithful when tempted to give up. You proved that your obedience was not for reward, it was for relationship. Heaven measures strength differently than the world. The world celebrates outward victories. Heaven celebrates silent obedience. The unseen decisions you make in solitude weigh more in eternity than the battles people applaud. When no one sees you but heaven, your obedience becomes pure. The Spirit once spoke through Samuel with words that still hold authority. Now, heaven speaks clearly through the words in the first book of Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22. To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed is better than the fat of rams. Obedience is better because it aligns you with heaven's heart, not just heaven's hand. Sacrifice gives something away. Obedience gives yourself. It requires trust without full understanding, surrender without full explanation. That is why it feels like warfare. It demands that you lay down control and walk in faith. There are battles you win not by fighting, but by obeying. Sometimes heaven asks for silence when you want to argue, or patience when you crave answers. Obedience becomes a shield against confusion, a sword against temptation. Every time you choose obedience, you push back the darkness one step further. The greatest victories are often invisible. You may never realize how many storms you stopped simply by listening. You may never know how many traps you avoided because you obeyed a quiet whisper. Heaven keeps records of every unseen victory, every internal battle conquered by trust. There will be times when obedience feels unfair. It will stretch your emotions, test your endurance, and make you question if God still sees your sacrifice. But understand, this obedience never goes unnoticed. Every time you choose His way over your own, heaven builds a monument of remembrance in your name. Obedience shapes you into a vessel that can carry weight. It sharpens your discernment and deepens your authority. The more you obey, the more clearly you hear. Heaven cannot trust an untrained ear, but you have proven yourself through consistency. You have learned that His voice is worth more than validation, His will more precious than applause. Sometimes the hardest obedience is letting go of people, of plans, of comfort. Yet, in letting go, you make room for divine replacement. Heaven never takes without intention. What you release in obedience returns as refined glory. The cost may be high, but the reward is eternal peace. This kind of warfare doesn't look like noise, it looks like stillness that refuses to fear. It looks like confidence without arrogance, surrender without despair. The battlefield is not around you, it's within you, and your victory has already begun to manifest in calm strength. You have become a living weapon. Your peace confuses darkness. Your faith destabilizes chaos. Your obedience dismantles curses. What once tried to break you now bows to the authority you gained through surrender. Obedience is not the end of warfare. It is the revelation of purpose. Once you learn that your yes carries power, you no longer fight for survival, you fight for others' freedom. Every soul your obedience touches becomes another testimony of victory. And so you walk forward, not waving a sword, but carrying presence. You no longer need to prove that you're chosen. Your obedience proves it for you. Heaven's generals are not the loudest, they are the most surrendered. You are one of them now. Your obedience has become your armor, your humility, your strength. The battle is not over, but the war has already turned in your favor. The same God who called you into the fight now crowns you with peace. Stand firm in your obedience, for it is the loudest shout of victory heaven will ever hear. Heaven's final warning before promotion does not come as thunder, it comes as a whisper. It does not arrive to frighten, but to prepare. You are standing on sacred ground between testing and triumph. The thin space where one decision can shape the rest of your journey. This is not punishment, it is purification. The next level cannot carry the weight of yesterday's hesitation. Heaven calls you to move clean, ready, and surrendered. Before every elevation, there is always a test. Heaven wants to see if your heart can handle what your hands will hold. You've been feeling it, the internal shaking, the quiet discomfort, the realization that something is about to shift. That is Heaven's way of saying, prepare. You are about to be trusted with more. Promotion in the kingdom never begins with applause. It begins with alignment. You are being invited to walk through a door that few can see. A door that only obedience can open. And while the world celebrates visibility, heaven celebrates vulnerability. The next thing God wants to do through you requires a heart completely yielded. The warning is not to scare you, it's to protect you. When you rise, you will carry light into higher spaces. And light attracts both admiration and attack. You must go up, wrapped in humility, covered in discernment, and clothed in love. Pride cannot climb where you're going. Only purity can breathe there. Heaven speaks clearly through Deuteronomy. Chapter 8, verse 2. Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these 40 years, to humble and test you in order to know what was in your heart. This moment, right now, is your wilderness test, not because you are being punished, but because heaven wants to reveal your heart's true readiness. You have already proven endurance. Now heaven measures integrity. You can't fake purity in the presence of purpose. Heaven is not asking for perfection, only honesty. When you stand before the threshold of new beginnings, the question is not, are you capable, but are you consistent? Will you keep your heart pure when the lights shine? Will you remain kind when you no longer have to be? The next chapter of your calling depends on those answers. But here is the beauty: heaven trusts you enough to test you. The very fact that you are being refined means heaven sees something royal in you. The fire that once frightened you is now the forge that shapes your crown. And as you rise, the flame of this message is meant to go with you. If it has touched you, if you have felt heaven's whisper through these words, let the light continue to move outward. When you like this message, imagine placing one small stone into a river. The ripples may seem small, but they carry far. Someone adrift may catch that ripple and find shore. And when the moment comes, you'll look back and understand none of it was random. Every test was a sculptor's hand, shaping your soul for glory. You'll rise quietly, crowned by purpose, when you share. Picture releasing a lantern into the night sky. It rises higher than you think, glowing for those who need direction. A simple share becomes a beacon, a reminder to another soul that heaven still speaks. When you subscribe, imagine planting a seed in the soil of tomorrow. It will grow roots in unseen places. so that whenever darkness comes, a light is already waiting. Staying connected to these words is not obligation, it is cultivation. And if ever you feel led to give, think of it as pouring oil into a lamp. The light does not beg for fuel, it simply waits for those who understand its worth. Your generosity becomes the quiet flame that keeps the message burning for hearts still wandering in the dark. And when this word settles in your spirit, let your heart respond in its own voice. Sometimes words are too heavy to keep inside. Release them. Leave a comment below, not as noise, but as a ripple of testimony. Imagine your words as small echoes in a cathedral. Someone weary might hear them and remember hope again. These acts are not requests, they are invitations. Each one is a choice. A small gesture of love that multiplies light. Heaven never forces partnership. It simply opens the door and waits for willing hearts to walk through. The warning and the invitation meet here before every promotion. Heaven checks not your ability, but your willingness to give freely, to share light without expecting return. That is how kings and queens of the Spirit are measured, not by what they keep, but by what they release. Take a breath. Look at where you stand. The ground beneath you is holy, trembling with promise. You are one breath away from breakthrough. Heaven's final whisper is simple: stay pure, stay generous, stay ready. When you do, promotion will not just lift you, it will transform everyone connected to you. The march of the chosen has begun. It is not loud or boastful, it moves like a heartbeat beneath the surface of the world. Heaven's ones are gathering, scattered souls being drawn together by an invisible pull of purpose. You are one of them, part of a movement older than time, rising not with noise, but with knowing. The chosen are awakening, and the earth feels it. The world may not see what is happening, but the spirit realm does. There is a shifting under the skin of creation, a stirring in the unseen that marks the beginning of a great alignment. Each step you take in obedience joins with others across continents. Together, your steps form a rhythm, a march that echoes through eternity. The chosen walk not for fame, but for fulfillment. They carry light where despair has lived too long. You may not know the others by name, but your spirits recognize one another. When you meet them, it feels like home. Their eyes carry the same fire. Their hearts beat to the same rhythm. Some you will meet in passing. Others will walk with you for seasons. But all are connected by divine design. This march is not organized by man, it is orchestrated by heaven. The chosen are not perfect, they are purified. They have walked through valleys, cried in silence, and risen from ashes. Their scars are not shame, they are proof of endurance. They know pain deeply, which is why they love deeply. Heaven trusts them with broken things because they know how to handle them gently. These are the ones who bring healing, not judgment, restoration, not noise. There is a spiritual army forming, but not one with weapons of destruction. This army fights with compassion, with faith, with truth. Their victories are not won by force, but by light. Where they walk, chains loosen. Where they speak, deception crumbles. They are heaven's answer to chaos, quiet, relentless, holy. You may have felt the loneliness that comes with this calling. It is part of the preparation. Heaven isolates the chosen to strengthen their discernment. Only those who have learned to stand alone can be trusted to walk together without losing themselves. That solitude you once hated has become your training ground. It taught you to listen for heaven's rhythm rather than the applause of men. Now that rhythm is turning into movement. The chosen are beginning to find each other, drawn together by shared obedience and divine recognition. There is no hierarchy among them, no competition, no pride. Each one carries a unique note, but together they form a single melody, a sound that calls nations back to remembrance. The prophet Isaiah once wrote words that capture this exact moment. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 2, See, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the peoples. But the Lord rises upon you, and his glory appears over you. That is the banner of the chosen, the glory of the Lord, rising upon them in a world clouded by confusion. They are not hidden anymore. Their light cannot be ignored. They are rising in workplaces, in schools, in cities and small towns, carrying divine presence into ordinary spaces. They are not waiting for pulpits. They understand that everywhere their feet tread is holy ground. You are part of that rising. You carry heaven's fingerprint. The same spirit that hovered over creation hovers over you now, guiding your steps. The march is not about destination, it's about transformation. Each step you take in obedience shifts something in the spirit realm. You walk not just for yourself, but for those who will follow your footprints. The chosen move differently. They listen before speaking, pray before deciding, love before judging. They understand that authority without humility is noise. They do not seek recognition, they seek resonance. When they speak, heaven amplifies their voice because it recognizes its own echo. Do not underestimate what happens when the chosen unite. Darkness trembles not because of their numbers, but because of their oneness. Unity among the chosen is heaven's greatest weapon. It breaks division, heals generations, and releases waves of glory across nations. This is not a movement you join, it is one you awaken to. The call has always been inside you, humming quietly beneath the noise of life. Now it rises, stronger, clearer. You will feel it in prayer, in worship, even in stillness, the pull of purpose that says, now is the time. So march forward, not hurriedly, but steadily. Let every step declare, I am part of heaven's answer. The chosen do not chase platforms, they create altars. They do not seek crowns, they carry crosses. And through their obedience, the world begins to remember light. You walk among them. You carry the same fire. The march of the chosen has already begun, and heaven counts every step. You can almost feel the ground trembling beneath destiny's rhythm. Every heartbeat joins heaven's cadence. You are not walking alone. You are part of a divine procession. The earth watches, and even creation whispers, they are here. The wind of completion is gentle, it does not shout. It sighs. You can feel it now. That quiet sense that the long night is ending. The struggles that once defined you have become distant echoes. Lessons turned into strength. The journey that began in uncertainty now unfolds into understanding. What once felt like breaking was really becoming. Completion in heaven's language is not the end, it is the fullness of purpose. It is when everything scattered finds its place. When every tear shed begins to make sense. You have not lost time, you have lived preparation. The path that seemed crooked was always guided by unseen precision. The pain that once confused you has now become sacred wisdom. There is peace in this kind of ending. It is not loud or triumphant. It is holy and still. You stand now at the edge of what was, facing the dawn of what will be. The same God who began this story is faithful to finish it. He is the author. And every line he wrote through your life has meaning, even the pauses, even the storms. You have walked through darkness, but you never walked alone. There were nights when you doubted heaven's nearness, but angels were closer than your breath. They recorded every cry, carried every prayer, and guarded you when you couldn't guard yourself. Heaven did not let your fire go out. It only hid the flame until the wind of completion arrived. The Word of God declares in the book of Philippians, chapter 1, verse 6, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." Those words are not distant, they are your present reality. The good work that started in pain will finish in power. Every unfinished chapter of your life will close with redemption ink. The promises that once felt delayed are aligning to unfold exactly when they should. Completion is not perfection, it is peace. It means you can finally look at the scars and call them beautiful. It means forgiveness flows easily because bitterness has no place left to live. It means your soul no longer fights the process, it trusts the outcome. You have become something the storms could not destroy, a living testimony of grace. You are not just surviving, you are shining with the quiet brilliance of one who has seen God and lived. The wilderness could not kill your faith, it refined it into gold. The silence could not steal your hope, it deepened your hearing. You are the evidence that endurance is holy. Heaven calls this moment fulfillment. It is when all the fragments of your journey form a mosaic of glory. Every yes, every tear, every trial has merged into something divine. You are not who you were at the beginning. You are stronger, wiser, softer, and more radiant. Completion does not erase the journey, it sanctifies it. What was once confusion now becomes clarity. The people who left, the battles you lost, the prayers that took years to answer, they all form part of a design too vast for regret. You are finally able to see what heaven saw all along. There is rest in knowing that nothing was wasted. Even the detours were divine. Every season played its part. The waiting was not delay, it was preparation for depth. Heaven does not rush masterpieces, and you have become one. You can feel the weight lifting now. Can't you? That heaviness that once clung to your spirit begins to dissolve. Peace fills the space where striving once lived. The winds shift, and you know deep within this chapter has done its work. You can release it without fear. You are ready for the new. But unlike before, you do not run toward it in desperation, you walk in quiet confidence. You no longer chase signs, you carry them. You no longer beg for open doors, they recognize your authority and open at your approach. This is what completion feels like: calm. Not because the storm has ended, but because you've learned to command it. You have become the storm that darkness fears, the one born of light. Shaped by endurance, crowned with peace. The earth will remember you not for how loudly you shouted, but for how faithfully you stood. You have become heaven's living testimony that grace finishes what it starts. Stand still for a moment. Breathe. Let this truth anchor in your spirit. It is finished. But you are only beginning. For the chosen, endings are never final. They are doorways to deeper glory. What you step into next will not just bless you, it will ripple through generations. Heaven smiles upon you, for you have completed your circle of becoming. The wind of completion passes, leaving only peace behind. And in that peace, your spirit finally whispers, "It was worth it." And as the last echo of this season fades, you realize you were never waiting for arrival. You were becoming arrival itself. Purpose now breathes through you, quiet and steady, like eternity remembering your name. The circle closes here, yet something eternal opens. You have walked through revelation, through fire, through silence, and now you stand transformed. The words you've read were never just sentences, they were seeds, each one planted deep within you, waiting to bloom in its time. Heaven is not finished speaking, it will now continue through your life. If this journey has touched you, let it live beyond this moment. When you like this message, imagine placing a small stone at the altar of remembrance. It's not for approval, it's acknowledgement. It says, "This spoke to me, and I honor it." Each like becomes a whisper that tells heaven, "I heard you." When you share, think of passing a torch in the dark. Someone you've never met may find their way by the light you extend. You are not just sharing a message, you are sharing hope disguised as words. When you subscribe, picture building a quiet sanctuary. It's a space where heaven's voice can return to you again and again. Like rain to thirsty ground, you are not binding yourself to a channel, you are anchoring your heart to continual reminders of purpose. And if ever your spirit feels stirred to support what you've received, giving becomes your way of pouring oil back into the lamp. Not demanded, not measured, just love fueling light. Your generosity keeps this flow alive, allowing these words to reach souls still standing in their night. Finally, if something within you awakened today, leave a comment below. Let your words become a trail for others to follow. A living echo that says, "Heaven still speaks." You never know who might find hope in your courage to write. The script may end, but the light continues through you, through your voice, through every small act of faith you release into the world.